So however you feel about same-sex marriage, religiously or personally or morally, you can be for or against. You should always be against division and hatred and discrimination being written into the Constitution.
Right.
Tomorrow, North Carolina voters will be given a chance to rewrite the state constitution, adding to it a ban on same-sex marriage. The latest polls indicate that this amendment to the Constitution has majority support tonight in North Carolina. The man you just heard believes that is because North Carolina voters are not asking themselves the right question about the amendment. The Reverend Dr. William J. Barber is the pastor of Greenleaf Christian Church in Goldsboro, North Carolina. He rose to speak against the amendment at a press conference yesterday. And if the good people of North Carolina listen to him, that amendment doesn't have a chance.
So we say to the media when they do the polls, they've asked people, they say, how do you feel about same-sex marriage? That's not the question on the ballot. Should have never been asked. You can't vote on religion. We have the freedom from and of religion. That should have never been the question. The question that should have been raised is, do you want to go against constitutional history? And that is, since the passage of the 13th and 14th and 15th Amendment, we've always expanded rights.
Yes, sir. Yes,
we've never decreased rights. We know better. The only time we limited is in 1875. That was the last time we tried this marriage thing. 1875, North Carolina, when we amended the Constitution to disallow interracial marriage. So the question should have been, do you want to go backwards?
Right.
Constitutional history. The question should have been, do you believe in a states' rights strategy that seeks to trump the federal protections of the 14th Amendment? And you know, states' rights is what George Wallace and them did.
Right.
Martin Luther King called it in his speech interposition and nullification.
Right.
The question should have been not how do you feel about same-sex marriage, but do you believe that a majority by popular vote should get to decide the rights of a minority? That's a dangerous precedent, because that means that the rights of people are determined by who's in the majority at a particular time. Do you want to vote on an amendment that makes the only domestic union between a man and a woman, thereby undermining the rights of other couples and possibly the rights of children and the rights of those who may be victims of domestic violence? Do you want to vote on an amendment where every law school in this state, all of the family lawyers from every law school in this state has said is bad law?
Right.
Do you want to vote on an amendment that the legislatures didn't even allow public comment? Y'all need to, do you want to vote on an amendment where they would not even allow lawyers to help them write the law? The question should have been all along, not how do you feel about same-sex marriage, but do you believe we should codify and vote on discrimination and hate and division in the Constitution? And when we have carried that message across this state to the grassroots, when we have cut through the Trojan horse tricks of the Tea Party-backed forces and asked people, do you think we ought to be tampering and trying to amend the 14th Amendment or Section 1 of the Constitution? Do you believe, especially in the South, with all of our ugly history, in the South, where if we had had to vote on the laws that protect us today in the South, and some of them, if we probably put them up for a popular vote today, if we put the Voting Rights Act up for a vote today in the South, we put the Civil Rights Act of '64 up for a vote today in the South, we put the Fair Housing Law up for a vote today in the South, it would probably be deleted. And you believe in the South? We ought to be putting people's rights up for a popular vote? So as we go forward from this place, let all of us say, We've read the great classics too. We know what a Trojan horse looks like. And Troy may have been fooled, but we are not.